Okay, hi guys. My name is Desi and I am back. So today we're going to be looking at this idea of the frame painters of reality. So, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. I really genuinely love you guys. And please just like, comment, subscribe, leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think. So, yep, let's get right into it. So, I have this idea that what we are experiencing in this reality is, oh God, I don't even know where to begin. So, I think this place is a lot more convoluted than what we've been told. I think this is a hologram. I don't really think that we are all God and fractals of the one. I don't think that's a thing. However, I do think that we are somehow connected. And I think that our consciousness is here experiencing this world. And I don't really think our bodies are actually moving. So now I know you're probably like, oh God, Dee's crazy. Desi's out of her mind. But just stick with me. Stick with me, guys. So what I think is going on is we are basically jacked into an MMORPG. And for those that may not know, an MMORPG is basically a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. That's actually what it stands for. And basically, an MMORPG is an open world video game, and there's a lot of people playing all at once, and you're just in a video game like Grand Theft Auto, where, you know, the laws of physics may be off. You're not really like in a real world when you're there. Like, imagine if Grand Theft Auto was a virtual reality video game. So let me paint this picture for you. This is what I'm thinking. You are a person. Well, I'll just give you my name. Your name is Destiny. You're at home, you're in base reality, and you live forever. Or at least a really, really, really long time. And one day you get like a little bored, so you put on a video game. You pop on your headset, and you select a video game from the menu. So the game you selected is called Life. And you're like, life? Because in your language, there's no word that's life because there's no such thing as death. So you don't need to clarify life. So you're like, what is life? That's such a weird term. Okay, whatever. So you click it and then you're jacked in. You're in the game. You spawn in. So you didn't really read much about the game. You didn't read anything about the preface. All you saw was that it looked cool as heck and it looked fun and it looked weird and foreign. So I'm in. It looks like Cyberpunk. It looks like some sort of like Fallout game. It looks like Borderlands and Fallout and Grand Theft Auto all mixed into one. So you're like, hey, count me in. So you're in the video game. You spawn in. And you start off as a person, but you're a miniature, smushed down, shrunken person. And you're not aware of that yet. You're just there. You spawned in. You have like people around you. They're strangers. You're in a house, and you don't know what to do. You don't know where you are. You don't know who you are, but you already have like a backstory for your character. Your main character, it's not a first person shooter. I hope not. But you know, your main character already has a backstory. So you've already been brought into something. So, you're just kind of roaming around the world, listening to your fake parents, and then you look into a mirror one day and you see that you're a shrunken down person. You're like, what is this? Well, it's called a child. And that's why you have parents. And that's why everything seems so big to you. It's like, oh, okay, this makes sense, I guess. Wow, this is so weird. Because where you're from, in base reality, you were never a child. Or you've always been a child. You're either a baby forever, a child forever, or adult forever. You either one. You don't go from being a child to an adult. That's weird where you're from. So you're in this game and you're playing. Now you got tasks to do. You go to kindergarten and you color and you make friends and you push the little girl over and you laugh because you know it's a video game and it's funny because it's not a real person. And you don't have the consciousness, as a little child to know any better. You're just like, oh, I don't know. So, what seems like years go by. It's only a few minutes, but in the game, it's years. Years go by. And you morphed from being a toddler into an adolescent. So now you're growing, you're developing your body more. And it's all weird and new to you because where you're from, that doesn't happen. You don't morph into a different person. That's strange. Why would you do that? That's odd. But nevertheless, in this video game called Life, your avatar is changing without your consent. So you're just like, okay, whatever. So now you're in high school and then you're trying to get your stats up in romance and whatever skills you got, your hobbies, gymnastics, equestrian, rugby, whatever it is that you do in high school. So you're playing the game, literally playing the game. And now you got to apply for college and it's just so fun and it's so exciting because you've never done it before. You're like, what is this? Like, why do I have to go and sit down and have someone talk to me for years and years? It's crazy. For one, why couldn't you just hand me a book and if I had questions, I could just mail you and wait for your response in the mail or just IM you or meet with you on Zoom? Why do I have to physically go to a place? That doesn't make sense. But nevertheless, it's fun because you never done it. Where you're from, there is no ignorance. Nobody's confused. Nobody's stupid. Nobody is unaware. And there's no system of capitalism where you're from, so you don't have to pay to work in the future. Because that's what college and vocational school is. You're paying to work in the future. Like you're paying to work. That's what it is. You're paying for the chance to work. So, you're applying to college and you're doing all the stuff that the game says because it's fun. You're along for the ride. And you get accepted to college. You're like, oh, okay. You go off, you live in your dorm room and all that. And so far, it's so on and so forth. You grow and you grow and you go. So, you do all of that, and somewhere along the way, you forget that you're in a video game. And you don't realize that you're not moving. Because you gotta remember, your body is back in base reality laid out on your bed upstairs. Your mom's downstairs cooking dinner. You're playing this game for an hour and a half, but in the game world, what's passing is 75 years. It's only been an hour and a half. So, somewhere from your spawn-in point to adulthood, you forgot. Or maybe right at your spawn-in, you totally forgot because you were so immersed in the experience. You were so confused at just how foreign and weird everything was. So you're in this video game. You're not moving. The images are coming to you. Because that's what VR is. You're not actually moving around your room. You're not walking, around your neighborhood. That's crazy. That's not what's happening in VR, There's mechanisms where you can simulate movement, like you might move a hand, you might move this hand, or you might pan this way or pan that way, but in the grand scheme of things, you're not running around your neighborhood. Like, even when you're running track in the video game, you're not actually moving your feet. So, what is happening in this video game called life is you are in an MMORPG, and there are other players from base reality, other base realities, off-world. There's players from the level of, like, from the VR world, but off-world. Because, like, in Grand Theft Auto, like, not every player is from this world. Like, some players are from off-world, from within Grand Theft Auto. And then there's NPCs. There are just some backdrop players in the video game. So, when you are living this life, you are having images presented to you, and you take them at face value. And every image that you see in reality, in this world right now that we're living in, every image that you see is in 2 dimensions. And the whole thing is this world, this reality, this video game wants to do everything it can to convince you that it's real. So when you start to remember that the real you isn't from here, the video game is going to tell you something to shut you up and get you immersed back into the game. That's the purpose of the game. So the video game will tell you, oh, this is a 3-dimensional world. No, it's not. It's actually not. This is a 2-dimensional world. Every image you see is in 2 dimensions. Length, height. That's it. Length, height. And you may say, well, I see width, I see the depth. No, you don't. You are seeing shading. You're seeing lighting. You're seeing what looks like depth. But you're not seeing depth. You're not. You can say, oh, well, I reach out and I feel stuff. I feel the depth. I feel the 3rd dimension, and I pan my head around and I see more of it. That doesn't prove any point, because that's the purpose of the video game. You're not actually feeling anything. When you're jocked into the VR, like when you play that Star Wars VR, and then Darth Vader's coming towards you and you're holding your lightsaber, you're not actually holding a lightsaber, right? That lightsaber is just lights, 2-dimensional, green, red, black, white. That's just length and height, right? No matter how much you turn your lightsaber, there is not a 3rd dimension to it. No matter how menacing Darth Vader is when he's walking towards you. And I played the VR, and that shit was scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, he's coming. That's just real. It's not real, but like, it was creepy. I knew he wasn't real. I knew he wasn't coming to get me, but everything around me was black. Everything was shadowy and scary, and I got a Sith Lord coming my direction really slowly. That shit had me fucked up. And I'm aware of what's going on. I didn't forget. I wasn't in the video game long enough, and I'm not crazy enough to forget. But just like in that video game, in the VR, it wasn't a 3-dimensional being moving towards me. Darth Vader wasn't real. No matter how freaked out my brain got, because it was fun, it was like, ooh, that's some really good imagery right there. Like, the CGI in this thing is really good. Like, the pixels are on point. But it's the same with this reality, is that you really think these things that you're looking at are 3-dimensional. And they look 3-dimensional to you, but they're not. I have 0 depth perception. Like, none. Like, I take the depth perception test every few years for different jobs and whatever. I still have 0. I've never had depth perception. I cannot tell. I don't know what it is y'all are seeing where your brain is tricking you and gaslighting you into believing a dimension is there that is actually not there. It's not there. Just because your brain is interpreting something as being there doesn't mean it's there. Have you never heard of schizophrenia? Have you never heard of VR? Like, that doesn't mean it's real. Just because you think it is, it isn't. I mean, So going back to our example, you're laid out on your bed, you're holding your, what is it called? Your, like, not joystick, but the thing for VR that you hold to kind of pan around. It's kind of your hand, kind of like for first person shooter, whatever the thing is. You're holding that and you got your headset on, and all you move is your hand and your head. You're just panning around, if that even. And when you're immersed in your video game called life, there's glitches sometimes. Because the game isn't perfect. The game was written by people just like you. All it is just code. That's it. There's just code and there's scripts running. There's programs running in the background. That's all it is. And there's ghost in the machine, and there's bugs. And sometimes what looks like a bug is actually a feature. And I think what happens in this reality is akin to what we experience here when we play VR, but it's a little bit different. So I think it's a little bit next level. I think what is happening is that how here when we are video game developers, we develop and paint the frames, like we create the stills for the video game ahead of time. And the stills pull into future points into the game. So it's kind of like how movies are made. So audio and video are different things, and they're not one thing. They're not meshed together. They're inherently separate, always. So what a movie is just thousands and thousands of pictures, individual pictures that are moving really, really fast. And then audio is separated, and then they combine all of those pictures with the voice, the audio, and they put the audio under the pictures so that it looks like it's just one fluid video. But in actuality, it's not what it looks like. And I've made films, like even me making this YouTube video, you can see that film, like audio and video, are not intertwined. Like how here, I'm breaking the fourth wall as always, but how like here I am doing this video, or I'm sorry, I'm doing this audio right now at 2:20 a.m., the 4th of January, 2025. However, I won't get to the visual images that you're currently seeing until maybe an hour and a half from now, when I am compiling all the images and then, I'm putting everything together, putting my transitions in, or whatever I'm going to choose to do. And then after I have the video, the images done, then I take the audio and then I put it under the video. Even when you're doing video recording on your phone, video is completely separate from audio. So, in this life, you have people that are responsible for the audio. So it's kind of like when you're on Xbox Live and, you're playing Call of Duty with your friends. You can hear their audio. You can hear exactly what they're saying. And what your friends are saying is completely separate from what sounds like gunshot sounds are coming from the TV, from the video game itself. And then what your friends are saying has no correlation to the images that you're seeing on your TV. They can comment on the images. They can be like, oh, dang, that was some friendly fire. Or you can, hey, on your 6, whatever. But it's totally separate. Has nothing to do with each other. Apples and oranges. So the people that are in the VR that are responsible for audio is a completely different department than the people responsible for video and for images. So in this reality, I think it functions basically the same way. So audio, I don't know how they're doing it. I know some of it is just the game itself, the sim, whatever you want to call it, the sim, the TV show, the Matrix, whatever. It's all the same thing. It's all different layers of the same phenomenon. Okay. It's some people have different levels of granularity. So it's just like when you were using a telescope when you were 7, you turn it and you twist the outer rim of it, and then you'd be able to see Venus better. And you twist it the opposite direction, it'll come back out of focus. So it's the same way with this reality, is people are having different focuses on it. Or just like with a microscope, you spin it, you have different magnifications. Same phenomenon, same petri dish, just different levels of viewing it. And every level has its own pros and cons. So in this sim, this video game, this VR, we are hearing our other soul beings talk to us. And we're hearing separately the Matrix itself, the game itself, like the hum of reality. Like there's always some sort of noise happening. If you've ever been in an isolation chamber, you can hear your heart beating, you can hear the blood flowing through your veins. So if you think you've ever experienced silence, you haven't. If you never, I'm letting you know, true silence is completely foreign to anything that you've experienced just in a regular life here. So the individuals that are working the sound department, sometimes they send out a piercing, this piercing noise, I don't know what that is, but it's coming from reality itself. Reality is generating it. I don't think it's aliens or ghosts or Bigfoot. I think it's just the reality. It's like maybe something is being updated or upgraded, or they're patching stuff. I don't know, squashing bug. I have no idea. But they will the sound of reality doesn't correlate with the picture, because there's nothing in the visual acumen that is causing this strange abiogenic sound. So when we are looking at reality, when we're just viewing reality, we are looking at preset images. And the people that create the images are unseen to us. And I think they're regular people, just like we, on this level, we play video games and we think they're great. And the people that are responsible for the imaging, the images of the video of Borderlands, they're people on the same world with us. They're regular people. There's nothing spooky or crazy going on. These are regular, normal video editors, video engineers, animation directors. I don't really know all the technical terms for all those great people, but you see what I'm saying? They're just regular people, just like us. And we view their creations as fantastic. This is magical. Okay. They don't think it's magical. For them, it's work. So I think the same thing or a similar thing is happening in reality, is that we like to think that the fantastic phenomenon or phenomena that we experience are created by beings above us or greater than us or more knowledgeable than us, immortal, outside of us, angels, archons. But I think that the beings that are creating the images that we see are just like us, and they're regular people, and this is simply their job, and they live in the same world as us. I don't know whether they live in base reality with us. I don't know, or they live in this level of the sim with us. But I think that the fact is, and I'm sorry, this is a really complex topic to put into words because I know how it sounds, but I'm trying to get all of my thoughts out. So please just bear with me, guys. Thank you for being so kind with me. But I think that the people that are creating the stills, the pictures of reality, how we're talking about, the movie has hundreds of thousands of just pictures, small little pictures, just pictures. Back to back to back, back to back to back. Just picture. That's all the movie is. It's millions of stills, just a bunch of them. Just lots of stills. That's what a picture is. It's called a still. So the pictures, the stills of reality, they're made by somebody else. They're painted by somebody else. They could be copy pasted from old images, old archived templates, like your house, for example. Oh, I won't say your house because that sounds intrusive. My house, for example. When I go into my house, I am not thinking too deeply about where every single little baby item should be. Rather, I move this one sock from this bin to the bin downstairs in the laundry room. Or did I move this toothbrush for this toothbrush? Did I move this hairpin over to this little case? Did I? I'm not thinking about that. I have a set idea of what my house looks like. I know what it looks like. And any big things that are new, I know should be in there. Now, the small things, I don't know. So, for example, when I come into my house, On the left side, I have a shoe rack. And I have so many shoes because I do a lot of things. I have like my work boots, and then I go out and, I wear sandals, and then I have my heels. So I just have a lot of stuff downstairs, not in addition to the shoes upstairs. No, I have a lot of shoes. So downstairs I have my shoe rack, and then I have shoes outside of the rack just stacked along the wall. So sometimes it gets a little messy because I'm always on the go. I'm always doing stuff. That's why I'm recording at 2 a.m. So when I leave the house, I am not just making a huge mental inventory of where every single shoe is. And, did I move this sandal over here? Or did I take these Converse off and put it down? Or did I switch out, this for that? Or these boots for... I'm not thinking about that. So when I come back, I'm not thinking about that either. I'm thinking about dinner. So if something is out of place, I might not notice it until I go looking for that pair of Converse. And I'm like, okay, let me think back on my last interactions and contact with these Converse. Okay, I remember they were upstairs and I wore them that one day. And so, I took them off at the door. They were downstairs. So, okay, did I move? No, I did move them because, I was going to put them on, and I put on my Barbie shoes. Yes, I still wear Barbie shoes. And so, so they're downstairs, not on the rack. Should be next to my sandals or Barbie shoes. So let me go down there. So I go down there. I swear to God, my Converse are not down there. And I didn't notice because when I came into the house 6 hours ago, I wasn't thinking about my Converse. I was thinking about a sweet potato and some avocado toast and whatever else I wanted. So I go down, I look where I know the Converse were because I am the only one that lives here. So I would know. So I'm like, darn, they're not here. Not at all. And I'm just looking and I'm like, they're just not here. That's crazy. And there isn't a big gap where they should be. It's just like they were clipped out of reality. They know clipped out of reality. So I go look upstairs. I'm like, maybe they're back in, my closet. Or maybe they're in the other closet. Maybe I put them in the guest room. Oh, maybe it's in my gym bag. Or maybe it's in my car. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm looking all these places. I'm back from my car. I'm defeated. Oh, God. I really wanted to wear those seafoam green Converse. And I look down, and there they are. Right next to the shoe rack, right where I originally looked. Why is that? Why? Because the frame painters of reality took an old template of the image of my front door entrance, and it wasn't the right image. And when I was out of the area, they clipped in the right image. They went and they painted in my Converse because they were like, oh, darn it, made a mistake. And then they put it back. They're like, oh man, I brought the wrong image. I didn't save the image from when Desi moved her Converse for her Barbie shoes. So I didn't save it. So when she came back, it was like, oh, dang, she's back. So let me go and throw an image up real quick. Another time, this was a few weeks ago, I had a gentleman caller over and I was like telling him about this piece of jewelry that I wear, and we were getting ready for Halloween. I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, this piece of jewelry will go perfect with my costume. It was so amazing. So I was looking for the piece of jewelry. I was looking everywhere. I was so ready to show him. I was so like, I just wanted him to be impressed. So I was looking everywhere, and I knew I left it upstairs somewhere. You know, I was like, it's either upstairs or downstairs on the counter. And I know sometimes it moves around because like I'll move it or the maid will move it or whatever. So I was looking upstairs. I looked in my bathroom on my counter. So there was other jewelry, there were bracelets and other stuff, but it wasn't the piece of jewelry that I was looking for. Okay, we'll just say it's a brooch. But yes, I was looking for my brooch and it wasn't up there. I was like, okay, it might be downstairs because, you know, over the years, I've worn this brooch a lot. I'll take it off, put it on, whatever. I'll take it off wherever. And, you know, I went down, I looked on the kitchen counter because up there, there's like a lot of little knickknacks. So I'll have like little, whatever, just knickknacks. And I looked and my brooch wasn't there. And he was looking too. I said, okay, when you see my silver shiny brooch, let me know. He didn't see it. I didn't see it. He was downstairs the entire time. This man did not come upstairs the entire evening or even the day before. So when I finally gave up on finding my brooch because I was like, okay, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. This is a small item. It is so small and it always gets lost somewhere in time. And, you know, I wasn't conceptualizing the words of this thought. It was more so like a feeling or a thought form. So I was like, I know that eventually it'll turn up because back then, even though this was only like a couple months ago, back then, I wasn't as aware of the frame painters of reality. Like I always knew they were a thing, but I didn't really know how deep it went until I started really analyzing and thinking about it and talking with other people. So I said, okay, this happens all the time. It'll just vanish out of reality. It'll disappear and then it'll reappear in some random spot. And it's like, I'll know internally that that's not where I put it or anybody put it, but I just don't care enough to get freaked out because I'm not going to lose my sanity over a piece of jewelry. So me and my boyfriend, we went out, whatever. Well, he was a gentleman caller, but yeah, boyfriend at the time. We went out, have a great night, whatever. Gave him his salutations. He went home. So the next time he came over, which was like a day or two later, that was the first time he was upstairs in a while. And I went into my bathroom before him. And lo and behold, my brooch was right on my bathroom counter in plain sight next to the bracelet I took a mental note of a couple days earlier. I said, boyfriend, we'll just call him Tyler. Tyler! Oh my God, look, here's my brooch. He's like, oh my God, that is so pretty. You found it. Where was it? I was like, right here. He's like, are you serious? I was like, yes. It wasn't here yesterday. It wasn't here the day before. Did you go in my bathroom before me? No, because you were behind me the whole time. He doesn't have a key to my house. The maid hasn't been over like in a month. So I have literally been the only person upstairs for like the past week and a half or whatever. And where I exactly looked, my freaking brooch was not there. It popped out of existence. It despawned. It demanifested from reality. And then, lo and behold, after I don't need it anymore, after some time has passed, then it just manifests back into reality. It spawned back in. Why? Because the frame painters were like, oh, they finally got around to putting that back into the image of my bathroom. I think the frame painters of reality are people. I think that they could possibly be normal people that are, I don't know, slightly superhuman. And being superhuman isn't some sort of strange, out there, wild phenomenon, because you think about gymnasts, that's superhuman strength. That is not normal. Like those people, like look, I am a naturally strong person. I don't lift weights. It doesn't make any sense for me to be able to bench 240 pounds at 120, and I don't lift weights ever. I don't do strength training ever. Why can I bench all that? Who knows? But it's like gymnasts. Yes, they're very muscular, but if you really look at a female gymnast, she's not all that muscular. Unless she's a power gymnast, she's really not all that muscular. But she's hella strong. These people, the frame painters of reality, I think that they're just regular people. They may have technology from the organization that employs them to be able to do the things that they do. Maybe they are, maybe they're given like some sort of like high-tech suit that renders them outside of the visible light spectrum of most humans. Maybe they're what dogs are barking at randomly. Like when your dog is just like in the middle of the floor barking at air, it's like, whew, it's interacting with something unseen. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that's what it is. Frame painters, the people, maybe they come into your house with you. When you unlock the door and you walk in, maybe you can't see them and they're behind you. Maybe that's what's going bump in the night. Maybe they have technology that can just allow them to maybe phase through matter in a certain way or something. Or maybe they're outside of the sim and they're just putting in images. I think that it might be a combination of the two. I think there might be like higher levels of these individuals. Maybe the physical ones that are wearing physical suits that physically come into your house with you, maybe they're technicians. And then maybe the ones that don't have to physically go in your house anymore are more advanced. They might be journeymen. And maybe the ones that can just warp reality around you at will, that do a really good job at keeping the continuity of the images of your life together, maybe those are craftsmen. And maybe the ones that work hand in hand with the Adjustment Bureau, they might be superintendents of your reality. They might have a whole cluster. Maybe your whole neighborhood is ran by one frame painter and they have a whole bunch of you guys to control the images of in this simulation, in this video game, in this TV show, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There have been so many times where I've looked out into reality and things just glitched. Or every single time I come to a stop sign, and like this one house I used to live in, when I lived out in the Midwest, I would go to a stop sign at the end of my street, and without fail, every single time there'd be a white truck going down the street perpendicular to me. Every time. It didn't matter if I left my house at 3 a.m., didn't matter if I left at midnight, at 2:27 p.m. It didn't fucking matter. Every single time. Every time I went out to do a particular thing, something else would be happening. That happened every time. Every time I went out, every time I went out to walk my pet, the girl across the street from me would be out there. She was just out there. And I'm sorry, my computer's on the fritz. She would just be out there. And if I just looked out the window, she wouldn't be there. If I was just in the garage, she wouldn't be there. The moment I step out of the garage, she would step out of her house. And it wasn't in a creepy way, because I think that girl was just minding her own business. I don't think that she was doing anything to freak me out or to be weird or malicious. I don't think that she even was looking at me. She was just minding her business. She would sometimes go out and spray the bugs because, and sometimes she would just be out there. Just out there. What is she doing? She's just walking around. Like, she just literally would be in her front yard just, like, walking around. It was so weird. If I would drive up to my, a place in my company, like one of the buildings, because we have a lot of buildings. So if I would drive up to one of the buildings, one of the administration buildings, and the parking lot would be completely clear, because I had a key to the building. So sometimes I would go in there and I would do like some sort of administrative work off duty or outside of my work hours. I won't say every time. No, not every time. Well, now that I think about it, it might have been every time. I mean, just so many weird things was happening. I just couldn't keep a track of all of them. But I know quite often when I go up to the administration building in an empty parking lot, I would park anywhere in the lot. Whether it was far from the door, close to the door, way off to the side, it didn't matter. Every time that I'm thinking of now in memory, somebody would just drive up, and out of all the hundreds of parking spaces that are free and clear, they would park directly next to me. Why? Why? One time I was riding through the streets. I know that sounds weird, through the streets, but I was riding with my husband. I was driving. He was riding with me, I guess. And, well, my ex-husband. One of my ex-husbands. But yeah, I was riding with my ex-husband. And we were talking about just reality or something. And then he mentioned like a particular make and model of a car. And it was like a really specific one. It was like a white, what was it? It was like a white GMC, like one of the old, like mid 90s, like late 90s GMC trucks. And I think it might have been a pickup that he mentioned. And then lo and behold, that exact same make, model, year range was on the other side of the street driving past me. I said, look at that. And then he mentioned a different type of car. Like, I think it might have been a red Toyota Camry. One of the like newer models for back then. And then right after he said the model of the car, that same color, make, model, year range was also on the other side of the street driving past me. It's almost like, and it wasn't like these cars were in view. It's like where I lived, there was lots of hills and, so we were going up a hill some of the time and we couldn't see that far down the street, or the car would turn into our street. and just go past us. There have been so many times where reality itself no clipped, and it seemed like it was just for a sec broken, and then the next second it was all right, and no one was aware of it. So I know this is a really different concept, and I'm not sure anybody else out there in the truther community is talking about this or have experienced it, but I know everyone's experienced the phenomenon of looking for something. They know where it is, they're there, they tear up their whole house, they go back to the first place, and lo and behold, it's there. I don't know exactly what to do with this information. I don't know. I do know for a fact that the things that we are seeing is created by other people, and they might just be regular people just like me and you. And the things that go bump in the night are likely the frame painters of reality. It's not sometimes it is the foundations of your house. I lived in a new build, and yes, foundations do set. Yes, they do. I can confirm that. But what I'm saying is like the bumps in the night, like the weird knock noises, the weird, like, not, you can't see it because there is something to see, you just can't see it. I think those are the frame painters. When people feel like someone's watching or someone is living in their house, but they have no proof or no evidence, and they can't prove it and they can't provide evidence, it's because I think it's possibly, in some of those instances, technician level frame painters that have to physically be on site to do their job, which is your house, which is creating the images that you see in your house or your job or wherever, driving down the street, in the park, in the dog park, in the hospital. And I know for a fact, well, I won't say I know for a fact because that sounds very authoritarian, but in my opinion, I think that your frame painters change multiple times throughout your life. Just like you inhabit different bodies throughout your life. Like, you say it's the same body, it's just morphing. Like when you go through puberty or when you grow from teenage into young adulthood or young adulthood into adulthood, or to geriatric stages. Like, those are different bodies. You cannot tell me my, adult body that's been here for multiple decades is the same thing that I had when I was 2. That is not true. And they're like, oh, your cell turnover complete every 7 years. Well, yeah, of course. It's not the same body. That's why. So what I think is happening is it is possible that there are maybe less crazy people in the world than we think. Or maybe the people that we think are crazy, they are crazy. Let's not get that confused. They are crazy, but they're not crazy in the way we think. Or maybe they're not as crazy as we think, because all crazy people are at least a little crazy. You cannot tell me that a schizophrenic person is possibly completely sane. That's not true. But I do know that it is possible that people that feel as though there is somebody living in their house, it might be kind of right. And I don't know how they're doing this. I just don't know. I know that this world and this place that we live in is very limited, and you only have 7 basic colors in the light spectrum that you can see. That sounds really sus to me. And I've seen the impossible colors, and they're not impossible. Like, what is it called? Stygian blue. I've seen that color. It's not impossible. It's just not something they want us to see, I don't think. I don't know. But maybe if we start training ourselves to see those invisible color, or the, what's it called, impossible colors. So if we do those things that, if you look at this color, the gold, and then this bluish purplish thing, you look at it, and then you stare for a minute and a half, and then you look at something and you'll see the color, the impossible color. If you start doing that and things akin to that, I think we might be onto something where we can start seeing a broader light spectrum. Now, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't really know if that's going to actually do anything, but and I don't know if we want to see that. Like I said before, where I'm from, we see ghosts. Now, what are ghosts? Are they dead people? Maybe. I don't think every ghost is a dead person. I don't think every ghost or every being that comes and says, "Hi, I'm grandma," is your dead grandma. I don't think that's true. But I think that it is possible that some of those beings are like people in the sim that haven't gone back to base reality, that never took off the headset, that forgot, or maybe I don't know. I think that as long as we're here, this is our identity here. And back in base reality, I don't know. I don't know how to get there. I have ideas about what might work, but I don't know. What I do think is possible, or what I think is real, is the fact that this world is a part of the sim, the whatever we want to call it, the Matrix, cool, the video game, whatever. This world that we live in, the game of life, is a game. It's a very serious game, but it's a game. First person shooters are very serious, but you don't see people freaking out over that. So this game that we call life is here. And then the astral realm also exists within the game. Heaven exists within the game. Well, I would say hell, but this is hell. Like the real Earth, Middle Earth, like what we call Middle Earth, where the elves and all the elven races and all that stuff. That's Earth. That's actual Earth. This is the hell realm of the video game. I think we thought we were going to Middle Earth, and then we kind of just got lost and trapped in the hell part of the video game. And since we are disconnected kind of from our body back in base reality, it means that who we are here is who we are here. Like our identity that we inhabit here only exists here. In base reality, we can be like Martians. We could be globs of jelly. For all we fucking know. I don't know. But I do know that looking outside of ourselves for like reassurance or whatever, I don't know if that's gonna get us out of here. I think we have to deal with reality and where we are, and deal with what is in front of us before we start worrying about base reality and the outer ring and getting we got to get there first to start worrying about it. So while we're here, let's figure out this place and what to do and how to navigate and what I just so I think all of that stuff exists within this construct, this game, this tesseract, this hologram. It's all fake. That's basically what a video game is. It's just a bunch of just projected lights. That's it. It's not anything other than that. And I think the frame painters of reality are just regular people trying to make it too. I think they're dealing with inflation also. I think they have children also. They have families and moms and dads and lives and bosses also. So I think sometimes the frame painters of reality quit, so you don't get new scenery sometimes, or sometimes it glitches for a long time. And I think that's where things come into play, where things are just not making sense for a long time. Nothing's moving. Everything's stagnated in your life, even though you've done everything that you're supposed to do for it to not be stagnated. However, you got the Adjustment Bureau trying to tell you what to do with your life. And then you also don't have a frame painter updating the images that you're seeing. So you just have the stagnation happening. I think additionally that the frame painters of reality may not actually be completely separate from the Adjustment Bureau. I think that the Adjustment Bureau and the frame painters are different departments, but they might kind of work together. Kind of like the government and the police department. Like the police department is not the government unless they're federal cops, but the police department are local entities. They're their own thing, but they work with the FBI. They correlate with the CIA when necessary to, solve a case or hunt down a missing person or whatever they need to do. Stop a drug trafficking ring or start a drug trafficking ring if you live in the US. But so that's what I think about what's going on with the frame painters, as I call them. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for just being here with me. I really appreciate you all. And I am telling you that I appreciate you. I want you to stay beautiful, stay handsome, stay strong, and stay amazing. Until next time, see ya.